Hello, amazing people! Today I am going to show you how to make a tank top. And I will also share a special trick how to make a seam that looks like a cover stitch, but actually doesn't require a cover stitch machine. It is a beginner friendly project and it takes an hour or two to make this top. I am going to use the Maya tank top pattern, which you can find in our Etsy and online store. Also, you will need a stretch jersey material with at least 50% stretch. And don't lose your thread. For this pattern there are two optional lengths. It took me some time to decide, but I went for the crop top version. I will be using a serger. However, if you don't have it, you can find instructions what sewing machine stitches you can use to substitute serger in our Instagram tutorial. You can scan this QR code or you can find the link down in the description. Let's start by cutting out the details. Now lay the back and front details with right side spacing. Serge the left shoulder seam. Now take the finishing detail and fold it on half, so the right side is outwards. You will need to lay it on the top's right side around the neckline. Serge together all three layers. When you are stitching, lightly stretch the finishing detail. That will ensure that the neckline lies neatly on you. As you can see, the finishing detail is a lot longer than the neckline. Simply cut off the surplus of the finishing detail. At this moment, the seam is a bit too free-flowing. That's why we should top stitch it around so it will stay fixed in the place. For that, I will use a sewing machine with a slightly larger stitch that I would normally use. Work from the right side and sew 5 mm next to the seam we just made. As you can see, now the seam is nicely secured in the place. Let's press the neckline. It is totally normal that it looks so wavy after sewing. The iron will fix it. Lay the top's right sides together and serge together the right shoulder seam. And by the way, don't cut off these loose overlock threads yet. Now let's work with the armholes, and the method is exactly the same as for the neckline. You take the finishing detail and fold it on half, match the right sides together and serge it around the armholes. Remember to stretch the finishing detail a bit more at the points where the armholes are more curved. And now again, let's top stitch the both seams we just made. Now press the both armholes. In theory, you could do this as the final step, but I prefer to do it now because it's easier to get there. Lay the tank top's right sides together and serge together the right side seam. If you have a cover stitch machine, you can leave the hemming as the final step. But since many of us don't have the cover stitch machine, let's use exactly the same method with the finishing detail around the hem as well. So now let's serge the finishing detail on the lower edge of the top. Since it is completely straight, don't stretch the finishing detail at all. And now let's do the top stitching again. Let's press it. And now we only need to serge together the left side seam. I intentionally left those loose ends of the serger seam so long so I could use a tapestry needle with a big eye and take these threads and hide inside the seam. This step will ensure that the seams don't tear. Give the final press if you need to, and that's it, we're finished. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, and remember to subscribe to our channel for more sewing tutorials. Bye!